Welcome to a moment of intriguing introspection beyond the realms of fear, hesitancy, and doubt. A deep dive into the questions of the ages shared with the courage that may challenge perception, yet teases open the expansive depth of conscious awareness. This is a rare and unique moment in our collective history. And beyond all sense of dogma, I am Master Lady Kira Ra, promising to call forward the essence of all that you are. Join me as I offer the latest Self-Ascension revelations with supportive wisdom. And why not remember that peace, love, and joy are your birthright? So this is the moment to bring your hand to your heart and to give yourself the gift of relaxing into a deep breath with a wondrous exhale. I look forward to joining you right now in another episode of Expanding Consciousness.
Well, hey everyone, welcome to Expanding Consciousness. I am Master Lady Kira Ra, and today this is one of those episodes, this is one of those podcasts, those broadcasts. This is one of those moments where I invite you to just really sink into this. Really take a nice, deep, nourishing breath. Let's go in. Ave. Exhaling. Really let yourself relax and go deep into that, belly deep. Let's like Buddha belly, right? Nice, soft, jelly belly, Buddha belly. Just let it relax. And as you do, I'm inviting you to remember that inside of us all is that which we call light and that which we call dark. It is the intersection or the sacred union of those two essences that call forward the perfect balance of creation. The essence of all that is positive, light, illuminated, and the essence of all that may be considered negative or dark or obscured, not able to be seen. The light and the dark. Consciousness itself sits as that emissary of it all. I am as you are, the unified field of the totality of the conscious awareness of masculine, feminine, up, down, right, left, north, south, east, west. It matters not. Because to stand in the center, in the pool of consciousness, to stand right there, is to be eternally in the essence of I am here as the sea of neutrality, holding the passionate action of the unity. So today, whether this is your first time joining me on Expanding Consciousness, whether you've been with me since the very beginning, I honor you being here because this is a library. This is an encyclopedia of consciousness itself. It is a legacy that I am choosing to make sure is put into this form as I have been guided by the ascended realms so that this form through all of these outlets, through all of these networks, this essence energy, this essence energy of consciousness itself reaches you in whatever potentiality, in whatever form, in however you are receiving this. Thank you. Thank you for inspiring me to offer this gift so that it would be there when you were ready to open it. Thank you for the blessing of you arriving into the moment where you are able to open this gift. Thank you for being here on this very planet right now. Because today we're talking about what many would call the dark side. And, I'm from that generation where I immediately go Star Wars on that one, but dark side and what the dark side is and what it is not. And even as I'm sharing this with you today, I'm noticing right in the centers of the palms of my hand and those very powerful chakra areas there, I'm noticing a building momentum. I'm noticing a building energy. I am noticing what I am noticing. How about you? So I'm going to bring my hands together right now, and I'm just going to actually rub them together like I was in a really cold situation, like a brr, right? Rubbing my hands together. Because when we do that, then I want you to just really notice, if you can, to kind of put that area between the thumb and the forefinger. Bring your two hands together. If you're not driving right now, if it's safe to do so, but bring those two areas together and then hold. Just really hold. and notice, and then release into prayer position, hands together, and move them. And this area of the palms, right underneath the thumb, that area is a very, very potent area. It carries a lot of energy and it often gets congested. So, moving that energy, physically moving that energy is important. If you've ever suffered from carpal tunnel, if your hands call to you, if you are unable to really work with your hands, then it's important to look at what's happening to your co creative vision. And it brings us right back to light, dark, consciousness, spirituality, all of it is here now. And in that, these words are thrown around so often that it is important to find a depth in this discussion, to really understand as you look at yourself and say, okay, if I am in the acceptance that within me is the totality of everything, up, down, light, dark, whatever. If I can look myself in the mirror and stay in the center, considering that all of these aspects, all of them are found on the same wheel. They are all within the 5 medicines that we are navigating in this realm of potentiality. So what does that really mean, that they're all within these 5 medicines? What does it mean? It means that at the end of the day, when we give ourselves the gift of being, when we give ourselves the gift of inhaling sacred aroma and allowing ourselves to put that sacred aroma on our pulse points, or to put it up on our neck, right? Or to put it on our third eye, or move even up. Remember that about 2 inches above, right there, if you move up from the third eye, right there, you're going to feel it. That's your star consciousness. And when we anoint these points and then bringing those wrists together and touching our third eye, moving up to our star consciousness, you'll notice an illumination, an activation of the pineal gland. You'll notice your ears start to open up. You might already be hearing a very high, almost inaudible frequency in the background, yet you're aware that it is there. Everything I'm describing to you, as I smell the wafting aromas, right? And right now, the wafting aroma for me is this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rue mogra from India. And as that energy is wafting, I'm immediately hearing the cacophony of India. I'm hearing the cacophony of being on the streets, of seeing 1 billion people at the time living in one country. Of that moment of the intersection, the continual downpouring of light and dark, of walking the streets of Mumbai and seeing a wall as thin as my hand. And on one side of that wall is the most opulent wealth and the most incredible overfeasting and gluttony I have ever witnessed in my life. And on the other side of that, literally against the same wall, so that if you're sitting inside the most elegant garden in the world, with your back against that wall, your back is against the wall of a woman who's probably dying of starvation, or was sold into slavery at 4 or 5, or is carrying a child she was forced to have so she can beg on the streets. That is the light and the dark. And I chose this example specifically. And as you know, I have traveled the entire world. I've been very blessed. There are just a few countries yet that I pray I will have the honor of visiting. And in that experience, in the noticing of consciousness expressing itself, I have stood in the gardens and the salons and the great halls of those who claim to be the conscious ones, who claim to be the caretakers of humanity, while I have watched their inner darkness, unable to be seen by their own sense of self-awareness, because of the egoic overlay of the sense of righteousness. Now, if I'm going a little too fast, I'm going to try to slow down on this one, because I really am inviting you today to go beyond there. The internet is filled. Everybody's going to give you their own version of what is light, what is dark, what is the shadow, what is not. Great. Get it. Get that information. However, today, this is an encyclopedia of consciousness itself. So today, in this moment, I want to invite you to be a prayer wheel. Now, what's a prayer wheel? Well, all over Asia, and I lament that I don't have one that I could show you on the radio, so let me do my best to describe it. A prayer wheel has a beautiful stem. And on top of that stem is a beautiful container. And this container, frequently on the outside, has beautiful prayers that have been etched into it, usually in silver. And inside of it, if you take off the lid, is a beautiful scroll. And it's this long, 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 long scroll with all of these prayers. So that every time you turn that wheel, all of those prayers go up with every turn. So imagine how many turns, how much is going. And what's so beautiful is that when you work with a prayer wheel, and I invite you to go on Google right now and learn about prayer wheel. And I've had the honor of being in countries with giant prayer wheels where they're so large that your whole body's trying to help them turn. But with every turn, you have thousands and thousands and thousands of prayers. And as you hold the stick that the prayer wheel sits on top of, it is the subtle knowing of the stick. It isn't turning the stick really fast. It isn't shaking the stick. It is a constant, gentle movement of holding the stick as the top starts going faster and faster and faster and faster. But yet that constant, gentle movement is holding the stick as the top wheel is moving. That's where we are at. That is the dark side of consciousness. That is the moment where you are stepping into a void that can only contain what we perceive to be as darkness. We perceive that which is dark through the lens and filter of eyes that have acclimated to a singular perception. What if what one person sees as dark, another sees as beautiful? What if a positive one can see the beauty of the negative, and the negative awakens to the beauty in the positive? What happens when you bring a negative and a positive charge together? They stick. Think about magnets. When the same sides of a magnet try to come together, they repel. But when you bring two strong magnets together, and their opposites come together, they cannot help but fuse. And in that fusion becomes a new form that is the strength of all form. That is there a dark side of consciousness? Is there a dark side of us? In the perspective of a world of fear and judgment, the answer is absolutely yes. Yes. That's why you're here. You're here to discover that. And oftentimes through being, seeing, doing, living, experiencing all of that, you are here for the exquisiteness of the journey, the beauty of it. To have a body of form is to immediately be that which would be considered dark if we were to look at the greatest expansion of consciousness itself. To Sacred Sequence of Incarnation, go look it up at my YouTube channel at Official Shrink Kira, learn about it. So through the Sacred Sequence of Incarnation, you literally take the fall from your illuminated state into the darkness of a body of form that does not have any idea, nor is it designed to have any concept of what your eternal nature is. Because the body of form is designed, this specific body of form is designed for this specific field of potentiality. So in this specific field of potentiality, we are here to carry this body of form, to touch, right? To feel. And we are here to grow hair and nails and look through these eyes. And in so, all of that is dark if it was to be compared to the illuminated presence of all that is. In many ways, your dark nature is this lifetime. And that is really pulling you up. Okay, I want you to lift up. Come hike up the mountain with me. Just we'll take a slow walk, right? I'll show you the magic on the way, right? We'll let the scientists show you the science and I'll show you the magic. And so as we're walking up together, and you come to Toasted Blue Mountain, and I'll do that with you. And so as we're walking up right now and you're seeing the magic, and maybe for the first time in your life, you're having an experience. It's frequently because you are with those that are also living that experience. It is one way that the light and the dark, and I'm putting all of it in air quotes, remembers itself in the unified field of oneness and presence and being. I am as you are does not carry limitation or judgment. If it does, then it is not I am as you are. And that's okay. I want you to really breathe that in. That's okay. Now, why is that okay? Why is all of this happening? Why are we talking about this right now? Well, when we go up to the top of the mountain at 15,000 feet and we get our broad view of everything, right? We step outside of our own judgment, we step outside of our own paradigms, and we gaze at it, and we see the power and the beauty. I mean, the incredible power and the beauty of the perception of positive and negative, seeing the beauty of each other because they are the same. They're simply expressing the aspects. Imagine the power right now of bringing together the perception of light and dark as it exists in your world, in your day to day experience, in this global experience, in the experience of this universe, in the experience of that which you are capable of diving into as consciousness itself. That's when you become the base of the prayer wheel. I am as you are, the base of the prayer wheel. The prayer wheel has its stem that is commanded by the one moving creation in a meditative, slow, steady pace. And once that groove is established, boom, 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 the prayer wheel starts going faster and faster and faster. Creation itself starts going so fast that if the mind, which is part of that creative process, right? Physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, those are the four that are spinning as you are commanding. And so the greater the command, and often misunderstood, the greater the command of the field, the greater the command of the conscious field itself, the faster and faster and faster the creation spins at the command of consciousness, thereby eliminating all fear, thereby unifying into oneness the perception of dark and light into the awareness of what is. I want you to really breathe that in. The perception of dark and light into the awareness of what is, that which has been commanding. I want to share with you that I was very, 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 very blessed. Last week, we had an extraordinary woman here, and I'm going to talk a whole bunch more about her. I'm going to be recording a whole episode of Expanding Consciousness at her finca, which I will be at next week. So it'll be 2 weeks from now. The command of the ancestral cacao plants. They're dark, are they not? It's a dark colored fruit. It's kind of a dark looking, and people can go into their, addictions with chocolate and all those other things. And I can think about all of the things that people could look at cacao. And I'm really specifically talking about this right now. I'm just throwing this in here because I want you to be aware of it. And the reason I want you to be aware of it is because of the way it spins, just like the prayer wheel, as we command it. When we bring all that we are, when we bring our consciousness into all that we are, and when we look at the ancestral cacao plant and why this plant and the magic and the medicine that this does, but it's not the plant itself. The plant itself is innocuous. It is a gift, and it says, "Here I am." It is the command of the prayer wheel, the command of the consciousness that creates the cacao, that calls forward its medicine. And when you bring your hands together and you open them about 2 inches, imagine that between them is your wheel of consciousness itself. And right between you, you are moving it. And as you are moving it, it is spinning the sea of neutrality with the prayers and the sacred intentions. And it is bringing in the unified field of what would be dark with light. All of that going into the sacred medicine of cacao so that we may ingest into this physical body the receptivity of consciousness itself. And when we do, we are immediately downloaded and we understand. And when we unify, we call in greater mercy for what we consider to be our shadow through the perceptual filters of that which we are told to believe it as. And we call in the greater awareness and forgiveness and gift of that illuminated presence, blending together. And I just love how the cacao is such a wonderful way that this happens in form. The darkness of the cacao, the beauty of that dark, still water out at night, maybe a little moon. You're on a canoe, quietly, quietly going down the river, listening. Stillness in the darkness, still dark water, still dark water. Putting your paddle down, what do you notice? Sitting there, the shades of darkness. Maybe the trees begin to form against a dark sky. Maybe that dark water starts to be a little more illuminated. Maybe the stillness starts to show a ripple. And maybe your heart realizes that it is that moment that the light and the dark are one, and that fear melts away into the beauty and the blessing of the moment at hand. Right now, many are stuck. They are stuck in a polarized field of what is dark and what is light, what is wrong, what is right, what is up, what is down. In this moment, I always defer to Gandhi because an eye for an eye will leave the whole world blind. And in this moment, we are all blind to our unified field until we say yes. This is the darkness of consciousness. It is the illuminated of consciousness. It is the darkness of humanity. It is the illumination of humanity. To be enlightened is to be in the moment of the divine joy of the recognition and full acceptance of the light and the dark, the sun and the shadow. Is it not when we dance in the sun that the shadow dances with us? That a tree appears and life begins. In this moment, I invite you to see the reflective gift before you. I invite you to dance with everything that's coming forward. And I invite you to remember that anything that is coming before you, perceived as dark, is merely the light saying, "Here is my hand. Let us remember each other." To relax and let go of jealousy, greed, and competition. To remember that there is enough for us all. And that no matter what you perceive you've done or been, no matter how dark you think it's been, and I have been there with you, I am telling you right now, it's the cacao of your life that was sitting as dark, still water, waiting for the infusion of you commanding it to call forward the waves, the ripples, and the movement that bring forth the miracle of your best life. Prepare for surprises and miracles as you embrace your shadow in the illuminated essence of you, as you relax into the recognition that with every breath and with every moment, you have the opportunity to open your eyes wider and to see each being before you as the highest potential that they are carrying for this lifetime, remembering that that is what they carry for themselves. You are merely the one standing there, showing them your highest potential, holding it for them so they may see, and inviting them to take your hand. My hands are here, and I am offering them. And if you take my hand, I won't let go, because together we are better. The darkness of consciousness, jealousy, greed, competition, and the failure to pick up the prayer wheel and to realize that if you hold on and you don't let go, if you command that wheel, boom, 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 your reality, whoa, look out, it's getting faster, it's getting faster, it's getting faster. And then inviting the mind to smile, relax, and say yes. This is your moment. This is humanity's moment. Darkness is merely here to remind you of the balance and the unified field that is yours to claim. You caught this episode for no other reason than you're ready. And you already know. And that's what makes my heart smile even more. I bow before you with all that I am as you are. And I am honored to put this in our beautiful encyclopedia. Reach out to me. Leave me a comment right here at official Shri and Kira over at YouTube or right over at amfm247.com and let me know, what are you thinking? How are you doing in this moment? How are your light and dark playing out? What is your shadow revealing? And remember, the ancestral cacao is calling so deeply that I'm going to be diving into quite a bit of information for you as together we reveal this ancestral magic that is now coming out of the forest at this moment because we are unifying. I love you with all my heart and soul. Get to ShriandKira.com and remember, I am as you are in the highest fields of potentiality, calling forward the law of instantaneous manifestation through the yoga of self-ascension. With all my heart, I love you.
Thank you for joining me on Expanding Consciousness. Learn more about the yoga of self-ascension at ShriandKira.com and make sure you're subscribed to YouTube official Shri and Kira. Remember, you are the gift. I love you and look forward to being with you again. Namaste.